Eric Frein caught at an abandoned airfield in Tannersville, Pennsylvania at Birchwood Pocono Resort. The state police and Governor Tom Corbett are in Pike County tonight, where they are about to hold a news conference where they will reveal details of Frein's capture. We're going there live now. Are they not ready yet? All right, we'll go there. We'll go there shortly. Let me set the scene here. Let me give you an idea of what happened. Eric Frein, who has been on the run for almost 50 days, was captured tonight. Very little has been released on his capture. We expect to get more of that information coming up shortly from that news conference in Pike County. But Frein was caught by U.S. marshals and was said to have surrendered. We've seen glimpses of him tonight. He obviously was injured. Whether he was injured during that arrest or that surrender, we don't know. We did have some pictures of him in a police car. You also, at the beginning of this newscast, saw Frein being escorted into a state police barracks. And again, there is a news conference that is expected to begin shortly with the state police and Governor Tom Corbett, in which we expect to hear a lot more about how they were able to find Frein, who was called a survivalist, who had a vendetta against law enforcement, and they had been pursuing him in some very densely wooded areas of Pike County. And while they had several sightings of him during that last almost 50 days, they were never able to conclusively get a view of him or say for sure that Eric Frein was the man that they were seeing. He's charged with opening fire outside the Blooming Grove Police Barracks on September the 12th. Corporal Brian Dixon was killed and Trooper Alex Douglas was critically wounded in that attack. Again, we are standing by for that live news conference in which we expect to get details of Frein's capture. When that begins, we'll take that and bring it to you live. But for now, Tony Martin has a first look at our forecast. Tony, thanks. Again, we are standing by for a live news conference coming your way from Pike County tonight, in which we are expected to hear from the state police and Governor Tom Corbett about tonight's capture of accused cop killer Eric Frein. We will go to that news conference as soon as it begins. Now, Frein is in police custody following that capture, which again happened near an airport hangar. The capture ends a 48-day manhunt. Jacqueline Kovac looks back at the concentrated effort to find Frein tonight. Jackie?
Marty, during that 48-day manhunt, police continued to follow clues leading to Frein's whereabouts. And we're just learning that the live conference with the governor has started, so we're going to go right ahead and take that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight at 6 p.m., fugitive Eric Frein was captured. And now, as you know, he will face justice here in Pike County. We have stated that early on that we would not rest until his capture was made. And I am so pleased to be able to say that tonight we have made that major step that has to be taken down the path to justice. Due to the hard work of everybody that has been up here for the 7 weeks that this has been going on, all the different law enforcement officials who stand behind me and who they represent, the hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have been involved, have been working very, very hard out there, looking every day to see this day come. And when this day did come, as had been talked about from the day of the shooting, or the day after the shooting, he was placed under arrest and handcuffed with the handcuffs of Corporal Dixon, which I think is very appropriate. What's also should be noted, that while everybody was out there, nobody else got shot after that day. Trooper Douglas is doing much better. Our prayers are with him. Our prayers are with Mrs. Dixon and her 2 sons, and with Trooper Douglas's family. I can't tell you how much, on behalf of a grateful state, we want to thank all the partners who have been involved in this mission to capture this individual, and how much you have given your heart and your soul in the name of justice. I want to commend the great work of the Commissioner of the State Police, Frank Noonan, who has been in contact with me sometimes hourly as to the progress of this manhunt. Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, as you know, has been up here leading many of the conversations from the podiums but together with the entire team, they have been working extremely hard, many, many long hours, days, and now weeks. The Pike County District Attorney, Raymond Tonkin, who's here with us, who now takes over in this prosecution, which is now going to be a prosecution, and all the federal and local law enforcement officers who have been involved in this also, and I know that the commissioner is going to name all of those. And additionally, law enforcement agencies from around the country that participated, that volunteered to participate in this. But I particularly want to thank the residents of northeastern Pennsylvania, particularly the Pike and Monroe County areas, whose patience, whose tolerance, and whose perseverance have been a tremendous support and lift to all of the law enforcement personnel who have been working out there day and night on this mission. You demonstrate the very best of Pennsylvania. Just today, when I was in the western part of the state, I ran into a couple from here in Pike County who were on their way to a western county, and they talked about nothing more than what was happening here in their support for all of law enforcement and what they were doing during this period of time. The support of the community has been instrumental to all of law enforcement. And then finally, I want to stop here and turn it over to the Colonel, to the Commissioner, but again, to the family of Trooper Dixon, to the family of Trooper Douglas, and to Trooper Douglas. Let me assure you, from everybody here, justice will be served. Colonel?
Thank you all for coming. This is a great day for the Pennsylvania State Police and for all Pennsylvanians. And it's only appropriate that I bring up Lieutenant Colonel Bivens with me, who has been leading this entire operation and has just done a fantastic job. You see many people behind me from various law enforcement agencies, the FBI, the ATF, the United States Marshals, and the Border Patrol was here. We have the Barrett Township Police Chief with us, many municipal police officers, Scranton Police Department, too many to count. The state agencies from surrounding states, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Ohio, Connecticut, all of them have sent help and been part of this. It has truly been a team effort and a pleasure to work with so many great, dedicated people. And the one thing I'd just like to point out, because there were so many, several thousand people that took part in this manhunt, the reason this was so important is because Eric Frein was dedicated to killing law enforcement members. He had at least one sniper rifle that we knew of. We knew he had a handgun. We knew at the beginning that he had explosive charges with him. I can't think of a more dangerous occupation than going into the woods after this individual. And yet, my biggest problem was telling people I don't need any more help. And that's truly significant. Now let me tell you how this arrest took place. About at 6 p.m. this evening at the Birchwood Pocono Air Park in Pocono Township in Monroe County, we've been broken down into many, many teams, a lot of them SWAT teams, and been assigned areas in the woods at various locations to sweep and to search, and we've been doing it for over 40 days. It's a hot, tiring, dangerous job. Today, the United States Marshal Service had one of their teams out at the abandoned airport. When they approached it, they saw an individual that they thought was Eric Frein, and they ordered him to surrender, to get down on his knees and raise his hands, which is what he did. Once they approached him, he admitted his identity, and he was taken into custody. He was turned over to the Pennsylvania State Police. As the governor said, Corporal Dixon's handcuffs were placed on him, and he was put in Corporal Dixon's car and transported back and is currently in custody. There are other search warrants that we're trying to serve right now on some areas that we believe he may have been staying at. And the thing that I want to emphasize, the reason this took so long is it's such a big wooded area that he was totally familiar with, that he had a lot of places to hide in. And we had to be very careful in how we searched it. We would plot out different areas. We have a lot of cameras in there, but it was the marshals going out there today, and we had a lot of other people out there searching other areas that came upon him, and that's why he's in custody today.
You've been listening to State Police Commissioner Noonan, who was discussing and giving us details of Eric Frein's capture tonight, captured by U.S. Marshals, apparently without much incident. And in what is probably a real blessed irony for the members of the Pennsylvania State Police, Frein was cuffed with the handcuffs that belonged to Brian Dixon, and he was transported in Brian Dixon's car. Brian Dixon is the State Police trooper that Frein is charged with killing. We'll be right back.